Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I have my N54 335i back in the garage for a much needed DIY video. So with owning this car a little over 9 years and at 158,000 miles, BMW plastic does not last forever. So we are going to change that in this step-by-step DIY video here today. So we're going to be installing the Burger Tuning N54 vacuum canisters on my personal car. So that way we can potentially stop any kind of boost leaks. Since my plastic ones are aged that long, this is a much needed replacement, and it's a simple process to do. So you get all the benefits, and guess what? They last forever. You never have to really replace them ever again. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this easy DIY started. All right, let's go ahead and pop the hood so we can get right underneath. All right, to get things started, you got your vacuum canisters right on this side. So this is the side of the turbos. You're gonna have 3 connecting points, 10mm bolt right here, and then 2 10mm nuts that are down in here that will hold this entire bracket on. Go ahead and take off the first one. All right, so down here, we're just going to pull up the vacuum lines. So you do have the option on the Burger Tuning website to go ahead and get some new vacuum lines. So what will happen, they're gonna be old and brittle and they're gonna be stuck on here. You can just take a razor blade, cut through it on one of the slits, like on the front. So that way it's just easier to pull off to do that. Next, we'll take our same 10mm and go ahead and get the 2 10mm nuts that are down there. It's all the way down in here. Once you got it loosened all the way up, a little trick here is to take out your magnetic wand. So that way you don't drop it down in the engine bay. And once you connect right onto it, go ahead and pull it straight out. Go ahead and do our next one, which it's all the way back here, but you can easily get to it through this little space right here on the back. And then connect right onto it, and then slowly pull it all the way back up. And there's nut number 2. Once you do that, you can easily go ahead and pull up on the vacuum line canisters. Just go ahead and pull and disconnect them. Pull the one, slowly, gently pull on the other one. Once you have the vacuum lines fully disconnected, now you can fully remove your stock vacuum canisters with the bracket. Here's an up close of the Burger Tuning Billet vacuum canisters. Very important, of course. You know, it's what really regulates boost. You can have, like I said, over boosting issues if you have a leak. It's what controls the wastegates, you know, when you get into boost and everything. So it's a very essential part as far as running these on your car. And essentially the billet is, you know, so that way you don't have any cracks that are very common in any kind of plastic BMW part. And of course, anything that's been aged, just like what my car is now. 13mm. Pulled off the bracket. We'll go ahead and put this one already on. Slides in this groove right here on the back. There's just a little groove. There's no bolt there. There is a spot for it on the billet one. Slides right in there. Then we'll go ahead and put our 13mm back on. It's a little bit harder to get in that hard to reach spot, so just get it started with the drill, and then you just fully tighten it off with just a wrench. Same process as before, 13mm. Swap on over the same 13. Fully tighten. Make sure both canisters are tight the way you need to be. Now we can go ahead and put the bracket back in and connect all the lines back on. Now we're ready to install the Burger Tuning Billet vacuum canisters back in. So before we do, we're gonna make sure we have it on the right side. So it's gonna be like that. I'm gonna then connect your vacuum lines. Get those connected. All right, so when you're putting it in the car, you can see these two little pegs that are sticking out from the car. And that is exactly where it rests at, because that's where the nuts connect to. So you just have to make sure both of those are on there like that. It won't move around. And of course, once you have your bolt in there, it's staying sturdy as ever. So since you have that all set up, just so you can see how the bracket fits down in there. All right, so now you're gonna want to go ahead and take your 10mm bolt. Does not have to be very tight at all. Then we'll go ahead and run our nuts down to the bottom. 10mm nut, just take the magnet. You go ahead and fish it all the way down at the bottom. Long extension, tighten it on there. Take my other one here. What I like to do is when I'm putting it back in there, either if you can get it on the side like that, sometimes it wants to flip up because of the magnet, but if you can get it like that down in there, that's golden. If you have a pretty strong magnet, it'll stay on there. You just gotta be careful with that because this could like pop back off and then go down there. But what I like to do is just get it just on that edge right there. When it makes contact, I can just let off of it and either hit it with my finger to do it, or once it's actually on there, I can just move the magnet to the side and then rotate it that way, and it helps go ahead and tighten it on. Finger tight, of course, and then you're gonna then use that. So go ahead and put it in like that. This one is all the way down here on this front. Once you have that one, you go ahead and tighten it. Snake your long extension all the way to the bottom. Now we'll go to move to running the new vacuum line from the boost solenoid over here on the side to the top of the canister to finish up this DIY. All right, so reaching over onto the side here, this is where your boost solenoids are, and this is where both vacuum lines were running to the vacuum canisters. And just like what I said, over time, they just age and they get brittle, they crack, and they expand. So this one right back here on this boost solenoid, since it has expanded just over the short period of time, pulls right off. Just pull it right there. Careful if they are stuck on there due to the heat, of course, since there's so much heat back here. You do not want to pull too much or pull at an angle that you would break this off on the boost solenoid, because that means you would have to replace the boost solenoid. If you need to cut it, cut it at one of the parts on the back, so that way it can easily come right off. So we'll go ahead and remove this one out of the way. Next one is right down here on this boost solenoid. This is the second one. This one, another easy one to pull straight up. And just look how much from the old to the new, it's really expanded. This used to be that size, so we'll pull that one out. Next, we'll go ahead and run the new line. Fishing on up here. Fish it up underneath. You want to give enough slack. If you do need to trim it afterwards, you're not going to cut yourself short. And we'll do this one about right there. clean cut. Go ahead and reconnect, adjust where necessary. Go ahead and add our other one. All right guys, well that concludes the DIY video of how to install burger tuning Billet N54 vacuum canisters on your BMW. Very simple process, and of course, as we all know, the plastic does not last forever. So for these, my 335i is gonna live long for many, many years to come as far as during my ownership. If you guys wanna check out the N54 vacuum canisters, head over to burgertuning.com. I'll have the direct link down in my description box below for this video, so that way you can check that out. Big thumbs up on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tons of N54 content here on the channel. You know, money-saving DIYs, things to look out for during your ownership. It's obviously what has built this channel as far as tons of N54 content. So hopefully I have something out there for you. If you thought about the F10 M5 route, I also have playlists out there for that. And just recently my G20 M340i. So also jumping on the B58 bandwagon. Great DIYs out there and many awesome videos to come on that platform. Check out those other playlists and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.